Hello friends, my name is Bahroz and welcome to the channel where I share with you tips, tricks that I read, learn and apply in order to become the best version of myself. Now in this video, I will share with you how to ace the PNG interactive online test, which is actually designed by PNG in order to assess your reasoning skills. Now given the PNG online interactive test has three parts, the digit challenge, the switch challenge and the shape challenge, I will create three separate videos in order to take you through each of these sections. In these videos, I will take you through the approach and logic that you need to take and understand in order to answer each of the questions that will come in each of these sections. And I will be making use of a large number of examples in order to help illustrate the approach and the logic and the reasoning that you need to take in order to answer these questions. Especially because while there are a number of questions available on the web for you to practice, however, don't expect the same questions to come in your test. That is why it is very important that you understand the logic and the reasoning behind answering these type of questions. In this video, therefore, I will focus on the digit challenge. In the description box of this video, I will leave the link to the videos that I will be making on other parts of the interactive PNG online test, along with the videos that I've made on PNG hiring process, peak performance online test, and frequently asked interview questions. Now, before moving into the specific part of the online test, some quick info on the PNG interactive online test. First and foremost, it should take somewhere around 30 minutes for you to complete the entire interactive online test, whereby each section is timed. And once you have completed one section, you would automatically move to the next section as the time runs out. So speed is of the essence here. You are required to answer as many questions as possible in the given time that is allotted to you. Once you answer a particular question, you will be moved to the next question and will not be allowed to go back to the previous question to change your answer. If in case you need to disconnect and exit the test at any given point in time, you can definitely do so and can go back to the test by using the link that is provided to you in your email. The link will take you directly to the start of the next round of assessment, following the last round of assessment that you already completed. Given this test requires your sustained concentration, make sure you give it in an environment which is free of distractions. Now let's quickly move into the digit challenge part of the interactive PNG online test. The digit challenge is timed for 6 minutes, during which you will be provided with various equations that you need to solve. The timer will start automatically when the first question appears on the screen. For the assessment, you must fill all empty gaps before you can unlock the next level. At the top of each page, you will see an equation with gaps. In order to fill the gaps, the numbers 1 to 9 are available. Each number can only be used once. Your task will be to fill the gaps of an equation with numbers so that the given result is correct. Questions get harder as you go along and you can only use each digit once per question. You need to answer as many questions as you can within the time limit. The timer and the timer bar indicate the remaining overall time for the whole activity. The level number indicates your current level progress, which you will see as you answer each question. You will be moving up each of the levels. Now, a very important tip which will be very much needed in the questions as they become more complicated, because they will start including multiplication and subtraction in those questions. So the order of operations is multiplication should be calculated first, then addition, and then subtraction. Now using the first example, which is very simple. So in such example where you have two digits adding to a single digit number, just start with number 1 and see whatever number is required to add to number 1 to make it 7. So here I would do 1 plus 6. This is again easy multiplication. If it's an even number, start with 2. If it's an odd number, start with 3, and then just see whatever number is required in order to reach that number. So here in this case I will use 2. So 2 is the number because 6 is even, and then multiply by 3. Similarly for addition, given there are 3 numbers here, start with 1. So the first blank will be 1. The remaining blank will need to add up to 8, which can be done by simply adding 6 plus 2. Here the most standard way is to first place number 1 in the blank which has a negative sign to it. That means the other two blanks need to be at least one number above the answer, which is 12 here. So they need to be adding up to 13. So in order to make 13, so place 7 and 6 in the remaining blanks. So these initial ones are very easy, but as you start progressing, the questions will become difficult and difficult. This is simply 9 plus 8. This is simply 7 into 3, 21. Here we can simply put 8, 7, 5. Again, here start with filling in the negative blank, which is with 1, and then the remaining two numbers should add up to 10. So it can be 6 and 4 or 7 and 3. 7 plus 4, 8 into 5, 9 plus 8 plus 5, adding 1 in the negative blank, and then the balance need to add up to 16, which is 9 plus 7. 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1, adding 1 in the negative blank, and the balance should add up to 15, which is 6 plus 4 plus 5. Here, since we have multiplication, so we'll solve multiplication first. Here the number we have is 23. Since something needs to be added in the brackets for it to become 23, so we'll find a number which has a multiple under 23. So this can be 21. So for 21, the two multiples are 7 into 3, and then we add 2 to it, we will get 23. Here's the opposite. We need to find the number above 71 which has a multiple, because there is a negative, because the numbers in the bracket after multiplying are being reduced. So here the number would be 72. 72 can be reached by 8 into 9, and then if you minus 1 from it, it will become 71. Here, because there are two numbers that are being added to the product within the bracket, so we'll need to find a number which has a multiple but under 77, and it cannot be 76. It has to be at least 3 numbers below 77, because the two blanks can take 1 and the other blank can take 2, because even if we use the smallest numbers, which is 1 and 2, they add up to become 3. So whatever the product we'll get in the brackets will at least have 3 digits added to it. Now if we assume it's 1 and 2, the number in the bracket should be 74. But it's not possible to reach 74 because there are only 3 digits that can be close to reaching that number, which is 8 and 9, because 7 into 10 is 70, and hence it doesn't reach to 74, so it can only be 8 or 9, and 74 is not a multiple of 8 or 9. So when we see such large numbers, let's start with multiplication first. So the blanks in the bracket can be 8 and 9, which reaches 72, and the balance is 5. We can reach 5 by adding 3 and 2. This one is very easy. 5 into 6 into 1. When you have more than 2 blanks in the multiplication brackets, use one number as number 1, because that will make life very easy and will get rid of at least one of the brackets completely. So here we have 43. Finding the nearest number which has a multiple under 43, because there is a blank being added to the product in the bracket. So we'll have to find a number which is lower. Here we can use 42. But since 1 is already used within the brackets, it has to be a number which is at least 2 less than 43. So the next number which has a multiple which is 2 less than 43 is 40. 5 8s are 40 into 1 is still 40 plus 3 is 43. So here we'll guess a number for the blank which has a negative sign to it first. And by the same value, we'll increase the answer, which in case is 24. And the balanced product should have 3 different divisibles. So let's just take one as an example. If we take 25, 25 only has 5 as a divisible, so not possible. If we do 26, 26 only has 2 as a divisible here. So if you take 27, it only has 9. If we do 28, 28 doesn't have 3 different divisibles. 29 doesn't have a divisible, so we move to 30. So 5 into 2 into 3 is 30, and then if we subtract 6 from it, it will become 24. 6 into 9 is 54. Another way of solving a number which has 3 blanks and is adding is first divide the number, which is 14 into 2, so 7. So 7 could be one number, and the balance is 7. So add 2 numbers to make 7, which would be 5 and 2. So 7 plus 5 plus 2. Here again, we first fill in or guess the blank with the negative digit. So let's say it's 1. If it's 1, the other 2 blanks should add up to 6, which can be done through 4 and 2. Now in case we have 4 blanks, there's a large number, then we can use big numbers first. So we can do 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 7 is 24, and the balance is 4. So 9, 8, 7, 4. Again, we start with filling in the blank with a negative number. Let's say we start with 1, which means the balance should add up to 9, which can be 4, 2, 3. So here I'll assume 1 in the blank, which means that the product in the bracket should add up to 12, which could be 6 into 2. Here one approach could be that whatever you put in the brackets should multiply and be more than 23. So if I have to guess, 5 into 4 is 20, so it has to be larger than that. I could use 6 into 4 is 24, and then we can do minus 1. So 6 into 4, 24, minus 1 is 23. Now similarly here, the product in the bracket should be lower than 39. So a number which is less than 39 and has 2 multiples of single digits. So it can't be 38, it can't be 37, it can't be 36 because that requires 2 6s. It can be 35, which is 5 into 7. And then we need to add 4, for which we can use 1 and 3. Here I'll use kind of the similar approach, which is make sure that the product in the bracket is more than 8. So let's say 4 into 3 is 12. Now I need to reduce 12 by 4, but with 2 digits. One is negative, one is positive. So I'll reduce it by 5 and then add 1. So in the negative one, I'll put 5 and then add 1. Alternatively, what we can do is we can use 1 as one of multiples within the bracket, because whatever will multiply with 1 will just be 1, which means that in the bracket, we can just use 1 and one other digit. Let's say in the bracket I put 1 and 2, so it will become 2. Then the blank with the negative could be 3, which is minus 1, and the next blank could be 9. So 9 minus 1 is 8. 45 is a multiple of 5, so I'll use 5 into 9 is 45 into 1. Here I'll start by plugging 1 in one of the numbers within the bracket just to make the multiplication easy. For the balance, I'll use 4 into 2, which will make it 8 because it has to be less than 11. And then if I add 3 into 8, it will become 11. Let's start by using 1 in one of the blanks in the brackets, again to make simplification easy, which means in the blank with the negative, the lowest number that I can use is 2. So the product of the remaining blanks in the bracket should be 36, which can be 9 into 4. So 1 into 9 into 4 minus 2 is 30. So here, since the number is very large, we'll have to use big numbers. So we can't start by 1, because if I plug 1 in one of the numbers in the bracket, I won't be able to reach anything above 142. Assume a plug-in number in the blank which has a negative sign, which can only be between 1 to 9. So let's say if it's 9, product of the bracket should be 151. And if it is 1, then the product of the numbers in the bracket should be 143. So which number between 143 to 151 has 3 divisibles? Now we can't use 1 as one of the numbers in the blanks, because then given the number is big, it has to be more than 1. So 1 is already eliminated and cannot be used in one of the blanks. So let's go one by one. So let's start with 143. 143 is not divisible by any number, so we move to 144. For 144, we cannot use 2 as one of the divisibles, because we'll need 2 in the blank which has a negative number to it, because it will reduce 144 by 2 to reach 142. So how can we make 144 using 3 numbers? Let's start with 3. 144 divided by 3 is 48. This makes sense. 48 divided by 6 is 8. So 6 into 8 into 3 is 144 minus 2. Again, a big number here. Product in the bracket can only be between 140 to 148. Let's start with 140. 140 is divisible by 5. It gives us 28. 28 is 7 into 4. So 7 into 4 into 5 is 140 minus 1 is 139. Again, a big number can only be between 192 to 200. So let's start with 192. 192 is divisible by 2, but then the other numbers are not single digits that can be multiplied to reach 96, which is 192 divided by 2, which is 96. So we'll do 192 divided by 3, gives us 64. 64 can be divided by 8, but then we'll need 2 8s, so it doesn't work either. So let's try 192 divided by 4, which gives us 48, which can be divided by 6 and 8. So 6 into 8 into 4 minus 1 will give us 191. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully after this, you would be able to ace your PNG online assessment test.